Welcome to the Fatal Farm panel. Wait, should you have done the intro? You can do the intro.
Hello. I am Zach. I am one half of Fatal Farm. I'm unfortunately the less recognizable half given the most recent released stuff, but I'm hoping that we can get Jeffrey, who plays John Arbuckle, and Lasagna Cat to Skype in at the end of our panel here. He is overseas, so he will be G-chatting us from London if I can get a hold of him, because he's a jet setter, apparently. What I have here today is like a little presentation, a retrospective. We've done a few things. A lot of people haven't connected the dots that, oh, you guys did that and that. So I thought I'd kind of breeze through everything, show you guys, maybe make you guys aware that, oh, that's also you. And then we got some raffle items that we're going to give away. You can see them over there at the booth, but they'll be up on screen. I'm going to share some new stuff with you towards the end. Hopefully get to some questions, maybe? I don't know, we'll see how this goes. Should I just begin?
I think so. I think we're ready for it.
All right, sorry. Lots of behind-the-scenes stuff. So, all right, we're going to start at the beginning. Early work. First thing we did was in the very G.I. Joe PSA sets, if you remember those penciler films. This might be like, we didn't do those, don't applaud for them. Applaud for them, I didn't do those. But in the spirit of those, we did a bunch of fake TV intros that might be so old that you guys weren't born yet. But like these, and we did some we very early on got kind of a rep for After Effects stuff, and that ended up being our entire careers. So we did some stuff for some movie awards, and we also did a Diplo music video that used with Air that I think introduced America to daggering. Genuinely.
I can't think of it prior to that. I mean,
I learned about it on the video.
Yeah.
They're like, this is daggering. We're gonna introduce it. Okay, so there's that, and then this is the one thing I did on screen. I was Infinite Solutions is us, if anybody knows that. And it was an early prank series before everything on YouTube was pranks. And these were legitimate pranks. It wasn't punch some guy in the face. We just screwed with people, made them do things that took a long ass time and didn't work. It was eventually taken over by a guy named Theo Joe. If anybody is subscribed to that channel, I think he's doing a pretty good job with it.
Can I chime in on this real quick? Sure. I just want to say, these were some of the earliest videos I think we ever favorited on the Mega64 YouTube account. Because, it was, honestly, I had to watch a couple of them before I didn't know if they were real or not. Because there's one, don't you charge, no, it was, you get better reception on a phone through, what was it?
You wrap your phone and you create a conductor with Ethernet cable. And it all seems credible.
Yeah.
And there's Easter eggs in Minesweeper that are really difficult to unlock, and it requires you to play Minesweeper for hours and hours and hours with the chance that it might be unlocked, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
It just loads up all that. But they were all designed to be passed around offices. Hey, can you get this to work? No, I'm still working at it. I'm just wasting your time.
Yeah, it really those came out at a time when YouTube was still, is in a very sincere
the
time.
idea that anybody would just fuck with people.
Yeah,
2007 on YouTube is unheard of.
Yeah,
because it was all just Charlie bit my finger and History of Man. That was all over on YouTube. So we actually went on to do these are screenshots from a never released thing. We were going to develop it into a pilot and shot. This was a global warming episode of Infinite Solutions where Mark Erickson tricks out his Jeep in order to run emissions free. We eventually abandoned this because it took so long and it just felt a little stale. That's not a fun thing for me to say in my own panel, but that's truthful. And we moved on to other things. We directed some Key and Peele. If you saw any of the VFX-heavy sketches in Key and Peele, it's likely we had a hand in them on the last season. We did pilot with Jason Alexander for Adult Swim that I bet nobody has seen. Someone saw it. Okay. All right. Well, oh, okay. Nathan's seen it. All right. Okay. Okay. That would let us try out creature effects. Creature effects is something that we've gotten really into, and I think moving forward is something we'd like to continue. And you'll get to see a little bit of that going forward. But what I think Mega64 is most fond of our library is Lasagna Cat. The silent cinema era of Fatal Frame. We're now to this, post-Jaws. Okay, so for people that aren't familiar with Lasagna Cat, it's not a great idea. What it is you start with a Garfield comic strip. You faithfully, like autistically faithfully, recreate it in live action, and then you show a music video tribute that's based thematically on the strip, and then it ends with a picture of Jim Davis. That's the formula, and we've done this like 50 or 60 times. We were originally going to do 100 of them, but like it just got boring. Well, the music video thing was. It started out, we were going to do it every single day. We were going to do every day's Garfield strip, and it's going to be like a blog, like Joe Mathlete's Marmaduke Explained. Does anyone know that? Yeah. Somebody knows that. Okay. And so we bought this Garfield suit. We're like, we're going to do this every single day. And then we were getting ready to do it, and then John went to the vet, or John had a date with Liz, and we're like, oh shit. What if John goes to the beach? What if John gets on a plane? We can't do this every day. Jim Davis is going to throw something at us that we can't handle. And so we're like, let's just do 100 days of Garfield. So we started doing that, and then we shot 80-something of them. And then we started editing them together. And I saw 2 of them, and then I got it. I was like, I don't want to see a third of this, and I made this. So this is a problem. And so we arrived at the music video solution to how does this stay interesting. So I just thought I'd give you some behind-the-scenes work, and it also kind of became like a film school because it became like, well, what do I want to do? Let's make one about it. So one of them, I'm going to share some behind-the-scenes photos with you. One of them, this one, is breakfast related. So we made a breakfast, like little township, and did it just genuinely. Cooked a lot of bacon and glued it to sticks. This is my apartment. Most of my stuff is shot in my apartment. At the end, John's head explodes. That's Jeffrey, who hopefully we'll talk to in a little bit. His head exploded. Here's some behind-the-scenes footage of the what movie magic. 2, 1. Okay, more behind-the-scenes stuff, and I'm mostly focusing on the recent stuff because I was better at taking photos while I was doing it. The original round came out in 2007 or 2008, and I wasn't good at archiving things. But for this one, we have John, this guy. People don't like that. This strip is based on Garfield tying John's shoelaces behind his head because simply tying them together is not like a big enough stunt. He needs to like raise the bar on that classic gag. So this is how we shot that. Green screen treadmill exists. There you go. Just thought that might be, reveal the curtain, see the wizard. That's the wizard. Here's from Fergalicious. We're going to be auctioning, or we're going to be raffling off a couple screen-used props from Garfield at the end of this show, and from other things. But a couple of them come from Fergalicious, where John is crazy because he wears socks to bed. And here you can see John writing life is a gas, which is a line for the strip, because I guess the strip was written in 1910. But he's writing in feces on the wall, which is an Elvis Snickers bar, like Marquis de Sade. Okay, so let's talk about this one. This one Cream by Prince. We were so sure this was going to get pulled down. Like, and I think it's still alive. We thought it was going to get pulled down because Prince is, his estate is still very litigious and protective. On our original round, we had Manic Monday, which was written by Prince, and that was the first one to go down. And he took down the Radiohead Coachella stuff. Like, wow, he's great. He's a great artist, and he can do whatever he wants. It's his stuff, and we shouldn't be stealing it. But we thought this was going to go down. It didn't. John wants to try a bunch of shampoo out, so we shot a bukkake film. And we put out an ad in Craigslist. I think that's how we did it. And for Asian men to show up, partial nudity required, and all these guys were game. They all showed up. I don't think anybody knew the extent of what they were doing. They were simulating a sex act, because I think we wrote like no sexual activity but partial nudity. And everyone showed up, and it was probably one of the most morally ambiguous things I've ever done to bring a bunch of actors in, because it was like peer pressure that they all had to do it. But this guy saved the day for us because he owned it. And he had so much fun that he basically guilt tripped all the and it's also, it sounds racially insensitive. There's a lot going on here that's not good. They're all wearing, this is a little note, they're all wearing digital watches, which I said is a must to the art director. I was like, we need to have every single person in a bukkake video wearing a digital watch, which I thought was like a thing. Like, I was like, I feel it's like a thing. And then, sure enough, I watched the bukkake video later, and I went, and a lot of digital watches. So, I don't know. Okay, Garfield appears in this. The geisha wig that he wears, it was too small for Garfield's head, so we had to do that. Do it 2 passes. This is behind the scenes aftermath. We're all enjoying ourselves. Jeffrey is not enjoying himself. We had this no tears shampoo. So sad that the person that helped us make it, but it was tears. It hurt apparently. But I want to draw your attention to, and he speaks Japanese. And it's accurate, apparently. This guy, though, that guy, pops up later. He apparently responds to a lot of ambiguous Craigslist postings, because later on, I was watching Nathan for You. And you'll see it.
Prior to this new Brian, I hired 8 actors that looked identical to me and had them ready and waiting in a nearby hotel room to meet my team. Which is to be me, right? So look how I'm standing, look at my posture, listen to how I'm talking. You got that? Okay.
So if you're casting things in Los Angeles and you're going through really underground methods, expect to run into this guy. But he was a great sport. One more thing, we'll get to it later. We've done a lot of commercial work, like directing advertisements and such. And I remember once I was sitting with a bunch of people from the agency and the client for a Powerade commercial. And one of the guys from the bukkake video came in to audition in the casting session, and he recognized me, and he recognized Jeffrey sitting next to me. And without any explanation, in front of everyone we were working with, he was like, "Oh, remember us from the thing?" I was like, "Yeah." We finger gunned him, and we walked out. And it was I could tell how awkward it was because it wasn't immediately asked by people sitting around me, "What was that about?" But 20 minutes later, they were like, "A little while ago, I don't want to be weird that guy." So I know how much it was stewing in their head, what was that about? But yeah, that happened. Songbird. This one is a Kenny G song about John liking listening to music. Hold music. a saxophone than that, but that was the us recording the bad sax track because it's like a duet between Kenny G and Odie, who's comically bad at the saxophone. And here's another just connecting things together. That was Hollywood Steve from Yacht Rock. If anyone knows Yacht Rock. Okay. So Hollywood Steve played the sax on the Garfield Songbird. Yeah. Making connections. In the air tonight. Okay, so we got some reactions to this. All right, this was a faithful recreation of a famous scene from Miami Vice. Yeah. Redoing things like too accurately is a recurring theme of this. Sequence, like 7 or 8 minutes, in the Miami Vice pilot, which was revolutionary for television at the time because essentially music video was very MTV-esque. In 1984, I believe, is when I really liked Miami Vice so much. I think that's why I forced everyone to help me on this. Jeffrey was like, this isn't relevant to the strip that we're making fun of. I think this is total non sequitur. I was like, you just got to deal with it. So we did that. This was one of the first ones we shot. When we did the first round of Lasagna Cat, we said, if we get 5,000 subscribers, we'll do more. And then we got 5,000 subscribers. 5,000 was a lot, like in 2007. Yeah. Now it's like, oh my God, that's not a benchmark. I apologize, people struggling to get to 5,000. So this was one of the first ones we started shooting in the second round, and it was so early on we didn't know how to do any visual effects work. And if you remember, he drives by that big boat. We actually built all those boats. Yeah, people react to how stupid we are. That's what you should like. We shouldn't have done this. There's no reason to do this. But there's Jeffrey standing next to those boats. Again, like why?
You said you use this one because I think this one is working better.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, wow. I'm sorry. I apologize. I can hear myself just fine up here. So, well, you guys, I'll just start over. So originally it was a Phil Collins track, and then we found somebody that did a cover of it that was so great, and it was just this random YouTuber, and we then started feeling guilty about using this person because we didn't want to create a Christian accidentally. So we replaced that track. The person wasn't all there, so it felt exploitative, too exploitative. To use it, so we replaced the vocal track with Phil Collins with that of Justin Roiland, who was the voice actor from Rick and Morty. And here is some of him recording the. That's his creative process, as you guys are probably familiar with. That's up next. Okay, so announcing the herald of the return of Lasagna Cat, we wanted to make it more. We didn't want to just do the same thing over again. We were about to do the same thing over again, but so much time had passed. Like, we need to do something fresh, or have there be a reason for us to come back, or it's just something exciting to do. I just felt like if we released a bunch more Lasagna Cats after a 10-year hiatus, it'd just be like, why did this take so long? What did you do? So we did this thing where you dial a phone number and you would leave your name and number of sexual partners you have in a voicemail recording. And it didn't explain why you would do this. And honestly, when we were doing it, we didn't know why you were doing it either. And the whole process of the sex survey was like one step at a time. We made a teaser announcing the sex survey, and then we made a trailer announcing the 1-800 number, and record, leave your name and sex information. What are we going to do with this information? And And then we made that. Like, it was like every step was like, okay, so we have another piece of the puzzle. Like, what is the painting that we're doing? Like, we're like, you know, like it's like scratch off a lottery ticket. You know, like, what are we gonna get? And you got, I don't know if you won or not, but what you got was the sex survey, which was a 5-hour recursive video in which John Garfield repeatedly answered a knock-knock joke, which is a commentary on the repetitiveness of the Garfield strip and the baseness of its humor. It's absurd. But it's a 5-hour knock-knock joke of basically violating a bunch of strangers' privacy.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Sure.
Sorry, I'm actually curious, what percentage of this room is in that video? Who made it? See? Right there it is. Okay, yeah, Garrett made it. Alright. Garrett put his age. Okay. Just so you know.
I apologize if other people called in. We basically took the first 1,000 calls, was how we did it. And I still, that 1-800 number is still active, and it still auto-forwards to a Gmail account. And I have thousands and thousands of voicemails that I just haven't opened and downloaded. You know, a lot of hang-ups, but a lot of just people, you know, pouring their souls out. Actually, I have one to show you. Not hard, no. So this is how it works. You unprompted teed that up for me.
Yeah, you know, I just wanted to preface.
I didn't know we haven't like, you know, shared notes or anything, but yeah, I thought that would get a reaction. Yeah, but that's one 15-second, you know, sliver of a 5-hour video, because it takes a long time to read a bunch of stuff. There's a lot of automation that worked there. And this is how it worked. Yeah. Why? So it was motion controlled, and we basically needed somebody, an ad agency brokered this for us, got the equipment, and like, we have a motion control rig, is there anything you want to do with it? And we're like, yes, I know something with the sex survey, we'll figure it out. And so we built this tiny little set, and that's how it works. And so we shot the looping, and there was a drop zone that was uniquely modified after you guys called in, and we just recreated a tiny portion of the set, and then we read the names in a controlled environment. My name is Jack Packer. Jack Packer, who? So that's how it works, and we shot it after the fact and edited it all together. But, yeah, it took a long time. It was like a couple of days of us just reading. Wow. It was exhausting. Yeah. And at the end of the sex survey, there's a 7-minute sequence that is evocative of Holy Mountain and Peele. So, where John comes to terms with his mortality and goes on a vision quest and meets live-action Garfield. And we shot this in Alabama Hills, which is to the north. It's a very beautiful area, and back to it, it's where Star Trek Generations. So if you think that the Garfield epilogue looks similar to the rickety bridge that meant the death of screen legend Captain Kirk, that's where we shot it. What else we got? There's some just behind-the-scenes photos of our man, friend Luca Fisher, artist who's willing to be naked in our stuff, and that gets him on screen a lot. If you're a guy willing to be naked for Fatal Farm, you'll get a phone call every once in a while. What else we got? Oh, and when John's, there's Jeffrey. Jeffrey grows his beard in like a day and has to constantly shave. That's his normal state. And I assume if we get him on the G-Chat is what he's going to look like from a grown-up, unless he shaved. He looked like that 3 days ago. He just left. Anyway, more images. This is us sneaking onto a LA City bus to shoot the bus sequence, and they're the live-action representatives of the mannequins that were answering the door. One of them, the one on the right, is Kate Freund, who's at the raffle table over there. Wait. The most memorable thing from the sex survey for men, or the epilogue anyway, for most people though, is the birthing scene, which is here. So, the way we did this was, we purchased half of a real doll, essentially. You can save a lot of money on a real doll if you just buy the legs and sex organs. By the way, we had a shipment from China. And we bought this is a reborn doll, which is a very sad thing. Everyone's groaning, so people know what a reborn doll is. I don't know if I should go into it, but it's for people that are like, coping with infant mortality, and it's a coping thing. So it's a very accurate, premature baby. And I purchased one on eBay. And it came, and I felt bad because it came with so many clothes and diapers and a birth certificate. And the seller that sold it to me told me about it and what its name was and how long she had it. And I was like, oh, thank you. And I didn't tell her what it was for. We actually shot this, another fun fact, we shot this at a convent. Not a joke. We shot this, we found the location that was most accommodating to us was a nunnery. So we had somebody basically at the door of the bathroom. We're just like, we just need to shoot somebody in the bathroom. Someone doing naughty, smoking in the bathroom. They're like, oh, okay. We'll just had somebody posted at the door, let us know if anybody's coming, and nobody did. So yeah, there's that. And we had an actress that I don't think knew the extent of how graphic this scene was going to be. Here is us receiving a sex doll in mail. Okay. Nice. So, if no one's seen an unboxing video, this is an unboxing of a real doll. It's slimy. It's way heavier than any was anticipated, and that's another thing you guys should consider before making a purchase like this. They are heavy. Is this grapple, would somebody ask? We consider I actually was going to raffle this. I'm trying to fling it over, overestimating my strength. Jeffrey realized how heavy it is. So it's packaged from the customs board. It says massager. It's categorized as a massager. All right. I think that might be my rich on Lasagna Cat. We're moving on to something that perhaps maybe people haven't connected to us, but that is. More often than not, I've asked questions about this. But so a bunch of people from the Channel 101 community, if you're familiar with that, mostly the Channel 101 community, did a scene-by-scene recreation of original 1987 RoboCop in advance of the 2014 remake or something. And we were assigned a scene where RoboCop shoots the rapist in the dick. And as we know what to do, we showed a bunch of dicks and RoboCop shooting a bunch of dicks. So we just kept the scene going. We shot dick after dick after dick. This many dicks. Lots of dicks. And you would ask, how did we get all these dicks? Well, I can tell you. We had a friend that worked on The Nick on Showtime. And she had access to the body cadavers that they would constantly have to cut into on the Clive Owen medical drama. And she's like, I can't do it all at once, but like maybe once a day I can make a dick. And so she did this for us for like a whole month. And like just smuggling out, she's like, I can't take too much silicone from work, they'll notice. But like one dick a day, I think I can make it. So she did that, and then we just basically sewed them to Spanx. And you wear them on your jeans. And that way, when Robocop, oops, like, get the hell. Oh my goodness, oh, there's the button. Sorry. God damn it. How do you do this? Let's click that. No. This is. Oh, there we go. There we go. 3, 2, 1. That was me testing it. The first test we did, the dick wouldn't stay on the Spanx. And the makeup artist was so apologetic because we brought the pyro guy out to do a test. And she's like, I'm really sorry, this is not working. She tried, like, I know this is expensive to do this test. And so she just put the dick on the table. I'm like, well, let's just see how it works. And she put the dick on the table, and the pyro guy used det cord instead of a squib. He used a squib here, but he used det cord. The original plan was to use det cord. And he detonated it, and it blew a hole in a wooden table. And I was going to wear it. And it was only because the glue failed on the Spanx that I'm not named. And probably immobile. So I am glad that that didn't happen. We switched to squibs because det cord proved to be much too great of an explosion and dangerous. When we do these things, we have to plan in advance because we're dealing with a lot of stuff that's like kind of pricey, like the Mocha rig and the pyro and stuff. So we generally like plan things out so into minutia so that we're not wasting any time because we try to do more than we could reasonably do in a day. So this is an example of, we do this for everything, but I just have this one on my desktop, so, but here's an example. And you see, like, everything, I bought those wrestling figures at Target, and I just photographed them on my iPhone, but everything was basically done before we even showed up on set, with the exception of the fucking do it line, which the guy did for us, and we left it in. I feel like, to some extent, we kind of screw ourselves and we don't allow for much improvisation, and it's kind of weird to be in comedy and not do improv. I know that was kind of an awkward thing when we got to Key and Peele, because we were doing VFX work on that, and those guys are such talented, like, improv people. I think it's kind of a bummer to do VFX comedy, and I think that's why you don't see that much of it, because it's so counterintuitive to comedians to, like, have to do the same thing or be ultra technical, do the same thing over and over again. Like, let me try it differently. No, you can't try it differently because of X, Y, and Z. And it's kind of a, so, but that's been the area that we have thrived because no one else has the patience for it. And I think as I've established, we have patience. Here's an interesting factoid. The first rapist whose penis is exposed is a guy named John Watts, who is the director of Spider-Man Homecoming. Circling back to Lasagna Cat, you might remember there's a satellite account for Lasagna Cat 619, okay, which is it's seated in one of the videos that Garfield also has a YouTube channel. It's called Lasagna Cat 619. It's populated by some cringy, YouTube-esque videos, and one of them is a BMX tricks video that he does. And if you were watching Spider-Man.
Nope. Peter.
Spider-Man is in the Lasagna Cat. That was interesting because John texted us. He's like, he got Spider-Man like years after we did RoboCop. He's like, hey man, can I put Lasagna Cat and Spider-Man? I'm like, yes. Yes, you can put Lasagna Cat and Spider-Man. And I kept pitching ideas like, what if he's fighting the Vulture? He watches the entire episode. He just stops and watches like a 5-minute YouTube video on his phone. And he's like, I don't think we can do that. So that's what I ended up doing. It was interesting because I got a legal release from Sony Pictures, and it was like, we'd like to use your YouTube, IP for a movie that we're making called Summer of George, which is a little like not cool of Sony. I knew it was. I was like, I know it was Spider-Man. But so if you're asked by a major movie studio to release the rights of one of your YouTube videos, don't trust the title that they're asking you for. But whatever. I'm just thrilled that I'm Spider-Man. I shouldn't say anything about that. Sony Pictures is great. Okay, so we've done a lot of commercials. Sorry, it's going to be not as loaded up with fun. But Rocco was, promoting the idea that I share, some of the commercial work that I did. This is some of the lesser entities. I did do all those.
Lifetime power grab Ultima's eyebrow raising 0-second instant grab technology works so fast and is so strong. They don't make two different swings look like there were always one. That's 100%.
It's just a super cut, but just to show that the kind of stuff that you end up doing, and it kind of makes sense if you see it. Lots of men's suits, lots of different stuff. I've been told this airs all the time. Okay.
Assuming you can't get fresh paint to order food at a gas station.
Some other stuff. So I just kind of do a bunch of production design heavy commercial work. This was a European ad.
Totino's pizza rolls.
So, I mean, if you do something, people ask you to do more of it, and this is like commercial worlds, mirror back to me. Like, this is who we think you are. This is who we think. This is what you should be doing. So there's that. But more notably, we did Terry Crews Old Spices. We inherited this. We split it. There's 3 people that do the Terry Crews Old Spices, kicking things off. And they've been kind of early on mentors to us, along with like the Lonely Island guys. Tim and Eric have been tremendous to us. And they started the campaign off, and we did posts on the first round with them. And as their career grew, it became untenable for them to keep doing Old Spice, so we kind of inherited it from them. And we've done a bunch of subsequent campaigns. I don't know if everything we've done has aired yet, because sometimes they hold on to them for a long time. They get Terry for like, a day or two. Everyone seems to have a Terry Crews is a nice guy story, and they're all true. He is the nicest person in the world. And he's so nice that I get angry when I see him be nice to other people, because I want him just to be nice to me. I noticed I got jealous on set. I'm like, don't be nice to that guy. He's a wonderful guy, and I did a little supercut here. And you can also see, as the Terry Crews Old Spices progress, you can kind of see us get better at what we do. And we started in 2010 and ended in 2017. I think we just wrapped on some in August, and I think 2 or 3 of them have aired, but I know there's one big one that hasn't yet, so I think I'd be in trouble if I aired it, but I'm not airing it. But here's some.
Old Spice body wash can't go on for 16 hours.
Stupid! It's super bomb!
Where am I?
Say goodbye to this nasty bitch!
What happened to me?
I don't know. I'm not a doctor. Oh, my
because the agency is very collaborative, and a lot of the things I feel like, well, what if there's another Terry, or what if it comes out from the ground? What if he dries off, he's in the desert and explodes? And that's not something that you normally get to do in advertising. It's been like what's the word? When focus group. They look like focus group fonts, no focus group like shots, like to a crazy extent. So the idea that you can go into something and just kind of like write it on set to some extent, add gags, is a really unique experience in that world. And Old Spice is, I mean, the ads are so popular that the agency is just, you know, given free rein to do pretty much whatever they want. I will say though, the very first one where he says, this one does stupid, where he punches the guy, that actually got changed. This one does dummy in the release version because stupid was deemed too mean. So you saw like the director's cut, NC-17 version where he says stupid. I think that's it for now. Oh, Oreo. So we did some Oreo ads. I'm sharing these because nothing really aired. This was what came between us doing post for Tim and Eric on Old Spice and us doing Old Spice for the ad agency. They gave us this like little job, and they didn't even fly down for it, which is something that they do. They like to be on set. It's a vacation for everyone that works in an ad agency to be on an ad shoot. This was a really small one for like a microsite. And the way that worked is they would ask you, which do you like better, the cookie or the cream? Seven. And you click on either one, and they would show you a video. No matter what you clicked, they would be like, you did it, you're correct, right answer. And so they went out to a bunch of people asking for you know, short videos of people being like positive and saying, yes, you did it. And I think the idea was that this could ultimately become like message board, meme, like response media. I think that was the goal. You know, we submitted a bunch of stuff, and all of it was rejected by Oreo, just like one after the other. But the agency loved all of it. So I'm going to share a couple of those with you. Some of them might be on our site, some of them not. Where's the cursor? Okay. So this was deemed too weird by Oreo. This one. And they were like, okay, that's too weird. Can you do one that's going to look like Dr. Spell's rejected coming up here? But can you do one that's like not like weird, you know, body horror? So we did this one. I was supposed to be an Oreo cookie commercial. I didn't go for that either. They're like, can you do one where nobody dies? They were like, I got you, got it. I know exactly what you want. There's another one they rejected. They said that the reason they can't do that is because I have guns in it. And so I replaced the guns with flowers, and then they still rejected it, so I don't think it was about the guns. They they were being political or nice to me. And then the last one they actually did air, and maybe you guys have seen this because it ended up, I don't think anybody went to this Oreo cookie site, but this one actually I have seen show up in comment threads as, you know, its ultimate, you know, meta purpose that the ad agency wanted. And if you've ever wondered where this, it's based on a famous pencil sketch of a horse playing saxophone. But if you've ever seen this GIF, the original origin of it was an Oreo cookie spot that we did. Slicer says thank you. We have the Garfield Cody costumes, which we're hoping to take some photos, wear them around maybe. I'd love to get photos with everyone who won a raffle prize, please, if you guys can come find me in the coming moments. I'm running a little long. Should I try to get a jumper?
Yeah, if you,
Okay, all right. I don't know. We just have a dog. There you are. Do we stop our voice? Oh, wow. That was very difficult. I'm going to be for a second, Jeffrey. Okay. Do you want to, should I take a question?
Yeah, you want to take a couple questions?
All right. Jeffrey, can you hear me even though you're muted? Just give me a thumbs up, so. Thumbs up? Can you hear me when you're muted? Yes. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? You need to communicate with your thumbs. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me in 2 seconds. Can you hear me right now? Can you hear me right now? Yeah. Oh. So my plan is, we're going to take some questions, Jeffrey, and I'll unmute you if you would like to respond to them. Or you know what, Jeffrey will take questions. I'm just going to compound the difficulty here. Does anybody have a question for John Arbuckle? That's awesome.
Do we have, let's see here.
Sure.
Yeah, we, if you wanted to take some questions, let's see, who has a question here? Let's see, you go.
After all that, somebody's got to have a question.
There you go.
Hi there, I'm a huge fan of all the stuff you've done. One video you didn't talk about that I'm mildly obsessed with is the pipe comic strip. And I want to know how that went and how did you get Drew Barrymore's brother to be in it?
Jeffrey, did you hear the question?
Can you repeat it for me? I missed the end of it.
How did you think up the pipe comics, strip?
How did we get connected to John Barrymore III? And can you speak at all about the pipe comic strip? Because I did not touch upon that during the lecture that I just completed, this long, hard lecture.
I can try. We met, we first got introduced to John Barrymore III because he came in and auditioned for a short film that Zach and I were trying to make, never finished, but it was going to be in the same vein as the ending to the 4.5-hour Lasagna Cat sex survey video. We were going to make some art film that didn't get into weird scatological humor, and we were trying to find sleazy men to play, I guess, child molester? Somewhere we have a big log of audition tapes of men acting like incestuous child molesters. Great for them. But John Barrymore was one of them, and we remembered him, and we looked up his contact info. We thought he might be right after we we brought him in, we gave him the script. It was like 26 single-spaced pages long, and we gave it to him like the night before we shot. He showed up, and we asked him, do you need to like read through it? Do you have any questions? Do you need to do the practice at all? And he said, no, I think I got it. And then we started just rolling on him, and Zach and I, like 5 minutes in, we're like, oh, this is going pretty well. Like, okay, everything's smooth. And then 10 minutes in, we're like, he's doing a really good job. And 15 minutes in, we're like, this is weird how good he is with this. And then he made it all the way through.
There was a teleprompter. I have to interject. I've got to take that away from him. He didn't memorize 26 single-spaced pages. But still, just simply getting.
How long was it? Do you have those scripts somewhere?
I don't have it on me at the Marriott Suites. No. I've got it back in my apartment somewhere. You wrote it. Jeffrey wrote that script.
I wrote it in like a feverish like two-day period, just like with a bunch of Wikipedia attempts. Didn't realize it would have the significance.
Yeah, that was a one-take thing that he did. He auditioned for a previous short film that we were trying to do, did not complete. We ended up not casting him on that short film, but he seemed with it. We actually didn't know he was Drew Barrymore's stepbrother at the time, or half-brother rather. John Barrymore is a famous silent movie actor who's the grandfather of Drew Barrymore, and this actor that is in the pipe strip had the name John Barrymore III, and I was like, oh my God, this aspiring actor is really, thinks highly of himself, and he's gonna just, put a 3 on the end of Hollywood royalty. It was his grandfather. I didn't realize that, but he just nailed it, and I'd love to work with him again, honestly. Yeah.
You remember exactly.
We have another question?
Yeah, cool. Who else? Okay. Yeah.
This is for both of you, really quick. What's your favorite Lasagna Cat video?
Oh, my favorite Lasagna Cat video. God, I don't know. That sounds accurate, but.
I think it is probably the pipe strip, honestly. Before we did the sex survey, the pipe strip was the one we were just talking about. That was going to be, I mentioned earlier in the talk, like, how are we going to make this round different than the last round? The answer was the pipe strip. And we were about to release it, and like all the new content, and we're like, I don't think this is enough. I don't think the pipe strip is a big enough event. And so we did the sex survey on top of that. But the pipe strip was the original Mark I version of, this is the big explosive thing. You like The Entertainer, right? I thought.
I do like it a lot. Except for The Entertainer, because it's really stupid.
That's the one where he just walks and loops. I'll show you the green screen on the.
I don't know. I also really like this is going way back. This is from the first round, but I really like Ebony and Ivory. I think that was the first one that we did that I was like, this is really stupid.
Okay.
One that I really like is one that you mentioned earlier, with all the breakfast foods.
The breakfast one?
Yeah. Because I think the effects are so great on that one. But that's one of the few that have been taken down, right?
That is, I think, the only one from the new round that got taken down.
Yeah.
And the reason it got taken down is that in the video, it ends saying, it's from the song Breakfast at Tiffany's, by Deep Blue Something. And it goes, if you want breakfast with Garfield, it can be arranged. And then we provided the mailing address and email of the PR representative from Paws Incorporated. It's in charge of relations events for Garfield. And I thought that was within the bounds of PR, that they should have to deal with that. But they didn't take either of that. That's the only copyright claim that's been filed against us from the creators of Garfield, who clearly were on the radar of. But they've turned a blind eye to everything. We actually tried to make round 2 a little less mean-spirited. I don't know if that came across, but we did some re-edits to make it less mean-spirited because very accommodating to allow us to do it, and with the exception of doxing their PR person, they allowed everything to stay up.
The Entertainer was one that was a lot meaner than it is.
The Entertainer was meaner. Yeah, that got a nicer re-edit. Yeah, so we had to do a re-edit pass because it was just we were also I should say I was also concerned because we were taking so long to do it. What if Jim Davis passes before we finish? That's not. I shouldn't even say it, but and that's also really selfish to me. Like, what would that mean for my web series? But I was like, it's really in bad taste for us to be so mean to this guy that makes children's cartoons. You know, like I'm an adult. Chill out. It's like if I ripped on Dora the Explorer every day. Like, I've got a problem. You know, it's not Dora the Explorer's problem. It's mine. So.
Awesome. Well, we have time for one last question.
One last question, Jeffrey.
One last quick one. Make it count.
So it took you 9 years or 8 years to put round 2 out, but I saw like on the Lazy Cat channel, it was like 4 years ago. So what was the big gap between you guys filming them and actually putting them out?
Okay. Jeffrey couldn't hear that. Did you hear that? It was
I got.
why are the Lazy Cat 619 videos 4 years old? As I was just, I'll let you from abroad answer, and then I'll clean up.
Well, part of it was Zach and I were trying to use Lasagna Cat with another web series, and we got caught up. Ultimately, just decided we needed to focus on Lasagna Cat alone, and we had finished all of them, and we're still trying to produce content side of that. Is that right, Zach? That's almost.
I don't even know what you're saying. We were trying to do what?
I thought we were trying to work on the Western stuff.
Yeah, I think it was getting excited. We wanted to release the Western trailers at the same time as Lasagna Cat, so that we knew that people would have eyes on Lasagna Cat, but we could be sure that the Westerns would get seen, but release them at the same time and cross promoted them. You know, we felt to have a shot. But when I said Kundun, or the pipe strip, was originally supposed to be the big one, that one was done 4 years ago, and we were all set to release it. And I'm going to also say that the reason it didn't come out is that we got Key and Peele. We got offered Key and Peele, and we're just like, I can't turn this down to release my Garfield web series. So we took that, and that took a whole year out of our lives, and then that led to other work, and it was really frustrating. And we put all that stuff online, all these Cat 619 stuff, the Darth Maul dog, whatever his channel is. And we just got stuck. We got stuck out of work, and that made it also, when we came back with a sex survey, it's like we have to make sure that what we're putting out is at least as strong as the work we're doing now, which is a lot stronger. So.
Yeah, I remember after the deal, you saying something like, we probably need to make Lasagna Cat a little more impressive. And that was the great trailer announcing the return of Lasagna Cat, which then prompted us to make the whole sex survey. So just kept stair-stepping ourselves and trying to create bigger and better things.
Every time you walk away from a project for a year, you come back to it, it's stale to you, even though no one's seen it. So you gotta bring something new. So every time we revisit it a year later, we felt compelled to add to it. And the last thing we added was the sex survey, and then just fortune befell us that we didn't have a job, right on the horizon, and we got it out. So, Lasagna Cat, all the episodes of Lasagna Cat have literally just been on hard drives for like 5 years, just waiting for us to have the time to do the sex survey.
Well, I speak on behalf of everyone in thanking you for finally releasing them.
All right.
And everything else that you do.